Pyro has answered to the recent allegations by writing a post on his subreddit, and while other channels have already commented on the issue, I want to use this opportunity to highlight how well he responded to the allegations. For anyone hearing this for the first time, Pyro, a commentary YouTuber with millions of subscribers, was accused by the Twitter user Ivory of grooming, supporting his claims with screenshots of a Discord chat that showed Pyro and Ivory chatting. Pyro was 19 years old, Ivory was 15 years old. While the issue gained quite some traction, most people were unimpressed with the allegations, since the chat mainly consisted of exchanging artworks of obese furries and some very minor roleplay of fictional characters that were not even related to the participants themselves. Also, Ivory was very inconsistent with his opinions and claims, and when asked in an interview how he was groomed, he said he didn't know. Now what Pyro nicely shows in his Reddit post is a lot of self-awareness and a clear stand on the issue, while he confirms that the interaction indeed happened. He clarifies the nature of those interactions and clears up some important points, like Ivory not being fully transparent with his age on several occasions, or the fact that Ivory singled out Pyro as the perpetrator, while other people that had the exact same interaction with Ivory in the past were easily forgiven, which makes the claimed impact of Pyro's actions on Ivory rather questionable. Even more so because, as Pyro shows, him and Ivory were in good terms just a few months ago. Now to come back to the quality of Pyro's statement, let's take a look at it. Hey gamers, I would like to take this opportunity to address a false allegation recently made against me on Twitter. As some of you may have seen, it has been claimed back in 2016 when I was 19 years old that I groomed an individual who was 15 years old at the time. I want to set the record straight with all of you and share the truth. This accusation is 100% false and incredibly irresponsible. I am not denying that in the past I took part in conversations with others that many of you will find understandably weird and distasteful. It was careless of me not to consider who was behind the roleplay/art sharing, and I take full accountability. But these exchanges never amounted to anything other than the fantasy roleplay. I have never sent or solicited nude or IRL content. I have never tried to engineer an illicit encounter or lure anybody into anything. I have never built a dialogue, connection or relationship with the intention of manipulating or exploiting anyone. This was even confirmed by Ivory himself in an interview. This adds some very important context to the allegations. In case of grooming and abuse, it's often difficult to get a clear picture. In terms of grooming, the victim often establishes some sort of dependence with the perpetrator and actively gets cut off from anyone interfering with that relationship. And in the end, the perpetrator owns an obedient puppet that bends to the perpetrator's every will. However, the result of the interaction between Pyro and Ivory merely led to fantasy roleplay, a written interaction where both participate in, kind of like a collaborative story writing. Something like this can hardly be called sexual abuse or grooming, and to measure the gravity of someone's actions on someone else, context like this is needed. I will link this interview in the description so you can check it out yourself. It's an interview where Ivory had to answer a few questions, and adds a lot to the conversation. Let's go on. He never at any point stated that he felt uncomfortable, and if he did, I never would have continued to message and respond to him. Every exchange between Ivory and I was fully consensual and reciprocal. He never once disclosed the fact that he was 15 at the time these exchanges commenced. He didn't include his age in his bio until he was 16, but I was not on Twitter between the 28th of December 2016 until the 29th of June 2017, as I was suspended. Moreover, individuals have since come forward contending that Ivory would be disingenuous about his age to proactively gain entry to other fantasy roleplay groups. Now this part adds valuable information since firstly, it shows that Ivory wasn't entirely honest about his age, and secondly, it gives Pyro's intent more context. Pyro's motivation to chat with Ivory wasn't the fact that Ivory was young, it was their shared interests, different from someone that intends to groom a young person. I'm really confused by Ivory's inconsistency. There is evidence to suggest that he has engaged in fantasy roleplay with another individual, similar in age to me. This individual was also not aware of Ivory's age at the time, but in this particular example, it was Ivory who very much initiated and directed the roleplay. After Ivory alleged that I groomed him, this individual then reached out to him to apologize for any hurt he may have inadvertently caused him, to which Ivory responded, "No, you're fine, I don't care." Why does he not care in this instance? Why does he remain unaffected by a similar interaction with others, yet feels the need to single me out and character assassinate only me on social media? Furthermore, if he is angry, confused and sad as he claims to be, why has he been in friendly contact with me right up until September of this year? This shows nicely that Ivory's reason behind accusing Pyro wasn't what he claimed, and by bringing that up, it makes us wonder if Ivory's intent of singling out Pyro was something else entirely. During the interview mentioned earlier, he was confronted with evidence that he sent kink art to someone else. He initially claims it was him, but then backtracks, claiming he has no recollection. I'm not here to personally attack anyone, I just want to clear my name. Being falsely accused has been extremely stressful, and it is such a serious issue. I feel it has to now be addressed. All this being said, I will kindly ask my fans not to call out Ivory, nor direct any negativity his way. I don't want to play any part in fueling or perpetuating hate. I just want to share the truth, close this chapter, move forward, and return to doing what I love, making unfunny videos. Pyro did a great job at bringing context and clarity to the conversation and backing up his claims with sources, while only apologizing for the things that were possibly unreasonable in his past, but not apologizing for crimes and suffering he's not committed or is not responsible for. As I said before, these situations are delicate and context matters a lot. Sure, at the end of the day, there's a law that we have to abide by, but since Pyro didn't break any laws, the online community was still ready to punish him if they deemed his actions as wrong, and that punishment would have had severe consequences on his career. Therefore, it's important to be able to respond properly to such allegations. And in my opinion, Pyro managed to do that. What Ivory's motivation was with all of this is still questionable. I'm glad that Pyro wasn't subjected to any consequences, and hopefully everything can go back to normal. Thanks for listening. Cheers.